Hello, it's me. It is a little bit rainy outside, but hopefully I have figured out how to make the lighting in this room a little bit better. I'm filming this after filming. Haha, I'm recording this after I did a video where I rambled nonsensically about the Schneider cut, because I also like superheroes. And the lighting got pretty bad in that one because I recorded it as it became night outside. So that was fun. But like Caillou, each day do in fact learn some more. So today I'm going to be talking about Ben 10 again. I'm going to finish off the actual alien designs and talk about all of the Omniverse ones. Some of them I won't have that much to talk about, mostly the joke ones, like, the Worst and Walkatrout. So hopefully this won't be too long. After this, I will be out of official canon standalone aliens, which will be weird. Uh, but, it happens. So then I'll do Ultimate Aliens, Ultimate Forms, uh, and maybe non-canon aliens. I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to do that. But Omniverse is what we're going to be talking about today. The lighting should have just changed again because I found an additional light source. There's so many in this room now. Let me just make sure I have decent, audio quality. So Omniverse, I learned, is divisive among the fans. I did not know this until I got, more active among Ben 10 fans, and I didn't get it at first, and then I rewatched a lot of the series, and then I did get it. Um, it is not a beginner-friendly series. It's 8 seasons long, and it kind of gets like how anime, the reason I don't like anime, because it's just there's so much of it, and I don't know what the fuck is going on half the time because of how much there is, and it's like that, you know? It's just there's just so much of it. Um, and the retcons are lame. Like the shit with the amalgam kids and the rooters. Like the rooters are a cool concept, but I do not like the way they retconned the plumber's helpers and Kevin's backstories. I think that's just super lame and super unnecessary as well. Um, but I do like a lot of the plot. I love Rook as a character. I love that Gwen and Kevin, it shows like superheroes just sort of pursuing domestic lives. I think they're a cute couple. I love the redesigns personally. Um, there are aspects of Omniverse, the art style, that I don't love, like how it makes almost every single female character have like a non existent waist. But I vastly prefer it to Ultimate Alien Force. I think that Ultimate Alien Force's art style is hot garbage. It looks like early 2000s Western look-alike anime shit, like Martin Mystery, um, but way more boring. It doesn't even have like the early 2000s quirk charm to it. It just looks boring and I hate it. Like OG Ben 10 had a cool comic book art style, and Omniverse has like a more classic cartoon look, very sleek, very angular, very exaggerated. Ultimate Alien Force is just so boring to look at, even if the plot can be pretty good and stuff like that. But we're not talking about the art style as a whole, we're talking about the aliens. The first alien that was introduced by Omniverse was Feedback, introduced in a flashback. Feedback has a weird place uh, in Ben 10 because you'd think he would have been mentioned in Ultimate Alien Force at some point. He occupies a specific place in the timeline. He is after OG but before Alien Force. So Omniverse has a lot of flashbacks to young Ben, uh, which show, Ben continuing to do young superhero stuff before giving up the Omnitrix to just sort of live a normal life. And one facet of this is Feedback, which is an alien that he unlocks off screen after the movie, uh, and uses a lot because he's a very cool design. But then he is disabled in the Omnitrix because of a villain called Malware. I love the lore of Feedback, I think it's very interesting. Very cool design. He's like a cool alien basketball player. Um, he does get a little bit into the fact that there are just so many electricity aliens. There's so many. Hey, dudes. There's so many electricity aliens. We didn't need another one. We didn't need another one. But um, Feedback is interesting because his whole thing is his base energy level isn't super strong, you know? Like, he doesn't have um, super powerful electricity powers. His thing is like Chromastone. His base level of energy is weak, but he absorbs energy from things. Except instead of light and radiation energy like Chromastone does, he absorbs electricity. But he can also absorb like living energy to weaken people. And I think that's a cool enough spin on electricity. If the design wasn't so good, I don't think I'd like Feedback very much because we have so many electricity aliens, and the whole weak but gets stronger when it redirects energy thing was already done by Chromastone. But it's just a great design, very fun character. Um, so I'm not mad. I like him. Blocks is cute. I don't care how gimmicky Blocks is. I like Blocks. He's a Lego dude. He's a big old Lego fella. Um, so Blocks is essentially a sentient mass of Legos. You know, he can make constructs, barriers, walls, weapons, whatever. He can extend his arms. He can shoot his blocks bits, and they explode afterwards. They're very painful to step on, which is cute. Um, but you know, uh, I don't know why I'm looking like off camera so much in this video because it looks like I'm reading something, but I'm not. Um, Blocks isn't like super strong, you know, like his blocks aren't indestructible. They're pretty strong, but it's been shown that people can break through them not that hard. So he's a very fun utility alien, not super strong, cute design. I like the strong lower jaw look. Um, just cute. I like him. Not, you know, the most creative or original alien in the world. He's just Legos. And he definitely, you can tell, would only be made in Omniverse. Like, this is not an alien that would have appeared in the OG run. But I like him anyway, so who cares? Gravitac is actually like one of my all-time favorite Ben 10 aliens. I don't know what it is about him. I love the big bulky fellas. Um, and he's kind of cute in a way. I like his big mouth. It looks like he's always smiling. Um, so Gravitac is a Galilean, which is a cool name, and actually wasn't isn't native to a planet, but from the orbit of one, which is really cool. So that's where he gets his gravity powers. He's essentially like a living planetoid with his own planetary core that has its own gravity. So he can manipulate the gravity of himself to make him lighter or denser for strength, but he can also manipulate the gravity of objects to essentially, it's kind of like telekinesis in a way. You know, he makes something heavy and slams it, or he makes something light, lifts it, moves it around. Um, he can, when projectiles are being shot at him, he can create an orbit so they move around him, and then he can redirect them. Very telekinesis-y. One cool thing about Gravitac's powers is if he overuses them, he can accidentally create miniature black holes, which is an interesting limitation. And in like a Ben 10,000 scenario, I could see that being something that he's learned to like control and create purposeful black holes. So it's cool. I like it. Um, I really don't have anything negative. I just really like Gravitac. I think a living planetoid with gravity powers makes perfect sense beyond the pun name. Great design. I don't have a lot to say about Crash Hopper. I like him. Strong legs and a hard head makes him sort of a living bullet. Uh, I like the design. I like bugs in real life. I think they're cute. I think Crash Hopper is cool. His legs are cool. He's a living bullet grasshopper. I really don't have much to say. I'm looking at a picture of him. The design is a little lopsided. I get that the legs are supposed to be strong, but I think he could have had less wimpy arms. But I mean, I don't think that's a super bad problem. He's cool. He's like an Omniverse staple alien, which I like. Good alien. I like him. Ball Weevil is a Katamari. That was stupid, but I don't care. Katamari Damacy is a fun game, and Ball Weevil is it, but an alien. He's a cute little bug. I think he's like Derek J. Wyatt's favorite, which makes sense because he's cute and I love him. He spits up little orbs and he rolls them around, and they pick up detritus and they get bigger, and then he pushes them over and they explode. He can also just like make balls and not roll them up and just use them as basic projectiles, but that's not fun. The main thing is he's a Katamari Damacy alien, which I think is cute, and I love him. And yeah, no thoughts, head empty. Cute little bug. I'm gonna rapid fire the joke aliens. Walker Trout is just like an adorable little fella. No powers beyond it's aquatic and it's too slippery to get a good handhold on, like those toys you get at a museum where you try to squeeze it and it just boop, slips right out of your hand. But otherwise completely useless, just like a fun little thing. Pesky Dust is cute. All of Ben's aliens are generally super masculine coded because, you know, Ben is a guy. So I like that even if it is for a joke, he has an explicitly feminine design. It's also super weak beyond just being able to fly around, but it has dream powers. You know, it can put people to sleep with its dust that it creates, and then it can enter the dreams and like manipulate them and stuff, which is honestly pretty useful. Like, I'm surprised Pesky Dust didn't actually get used that much, but I mean, it is sort of a joke alien, so I get it. Molestash is silly because his power is that his mustache is a big arms. He can manipulate the hair on his mustache and make big shapes and stuff. And it's like, you know, he's not ever going to be as strong as forearms. He can create other things like a drill, but Armadillo exists. So he really isn't useful when you consider the fact that anything he can do, something else can do better. But it's just funny that Molestash even has powers to begin with. Let's see, the last one is the alien, which is called the Worst. He's lovely. He's called the Worst. And he's just a blob of garbage in some underwear with an outie belly button. He's horrible and I love him. Like, he's really bad and fantastic. And I really, really like him. He's completely indestructible. Like, you punch him, nothing. You shoot him with a laser, nothing. Fire and freezing, nothing. But he can't do anything, and that's what makes him perfect. Oh, the joke aliens are so fun because they all have a single thing. I guess Walkatrout's thing of being slippery really is the least useful, all things considered, but still they all have some very limited use in the series at some point, which I think is just great. On a less positive note, I don't even remotely like Kick and Hawk. Take Wrath, who's very funny. Same powers pretty much, just stronger than a person and good at fighting, but not forearms strong and has no other interesting powers. But Kick and Hawk's not funny. Like, his personality is he's like a cocky fighter, which is just kind of how Ben is. And he doesn't, I mean, I guess his fighting style is different. Wrath is like a wrestler. Kick and Hawk is like a kickboxer, but I don't care. And it's not a super interesting design. It just looks like Captain Falcon Blaziken hybrid, but no fire. It's just boring. It's a boring design. I'm gonna see if there's any redeeming factors on the wiki. No, the design is worse than I even remembered. Wow. I don't care. And the design doesn't even make sense. He has the Dorito body and huge arms, but he fights almost exclusively with his feet. So it's like, I don't understand the point. And it's like, it's cool to have an alien that is definitively the best fighter, but Just not interesting. Just not an interesting alien. I just don't like him. Topic, I really like. I think it's unfortunate that he only appears like 3 times in the whole series. Um, but he's cool. I mean, his whole thing is his head is in a cage because it turns into your worst fear when you look at it. So that's all he does really is he defeats people by showing them the thing they're afraid of. So if someone's super strong, like there's a part where Siphon steals the power of a dwarf star and becomes very strong. And the only way he gets defeated is because Ben scares him, which is cute. It's a cute, creative way to get around people who are otherwise like unbeatable almost. But I can understand why it only shows up 3 times because there's only so many ways you can make that interesting. But I like him. I like Topic. Apparently, he can shoot acid from his fingertips and just doesn't know how, which is mostly irrelevant. I don't even know why I brought it up. Topic is cool and I like him. Astrodactyl is my other problem alien of Omniverse. The only 2 I have any problem with are Kick and Hawk and Astrodactyl. Astrodactyl, I also don't really get. So the thing with Kick and Hawk is like, what's the point of it existing? He has no powers. The design is antithetical to his usage. Astrodactyl is weird because the whole thing about aliens is that they have innate abilities that make them powerful and useful, except that Astrodactyl doesn't seem to have any abilities of its own. It has a jetpack. Cool. It's not. I mean, everything it does is directly related to the jetpack. It can't fly without the jetpack, even though it has wings. All of its like energy projectiles come from the jetpack. It creates energy weapons out of the jetpack. I think it would be cool to have a dinosaur alien with the powers of Reboot Shockrock. Oh my god, I just realized that. How am I going to put Shockrock into a video? Do I have to do a video on the reboot? That's not relevant. Astrodactyl is just weird. It's just weird. Why does it get its powers from a thing that it has instead of from itself? Like, at least with Armadillo and Water Hazard, even though they look like things inside of a suit of armor, it is canon that that is their organic bodies. But Astrodactyl as a species never gets any lore, so I don't know if that jetpack is a weird growth that keeps its energy core. I just know that it's a lame design I don't like very much. Anyone who knows me in real life knows that I am very into frogs. Speaking of frogs, let me just... Okay, cool. So, Kermit the Frog piggy bank, frog coin purse. Got these fellas. This is a little red froggy guy. Salt and pepper shakers. He be sitting on a lily pad. Most of my little dudes are at home. I also got this guy that I shoplifted from a thrift store because I forgot I put him in my pocket because my hands were full. So I love frogs is my point. I have more than that even, but I only have so much room in my dorm and my various backpacks. But the point I'm trying to make is I love bullfrag. I have been waiting for an amphibian alien for a very long time. Amphibian doesn't count because it's a jellyfish, which is not an amphibian, it's a nidarian, I think. So I'm happy that bullfrog exists because I wanted a frog alien so bad. It's not the ideal. I tend to like my frogs a little chunkier and not just humans, but I mean, It's an incursion. And I love when Ben gets aliens that are existing species within the series. Like, I always wanted him to get a Kraho form and, like, maybe a sample of Argent species. One of the only things I like about the reboot is that he gets a Chimera sui generis. I thought it would have been cool if he got a hybrid form, even. So, Bullfrag, very cool, and I like him. He works as like a spy within the incursions, which is cool. He's got a fun accent. Even though his powers aren't very interesting, he's decent at combat. He's stronger than a normal human. He jump high, and he's got a built-in grappling hook with the tongue, which I love when a frog do a fun thing with the tongue. He can even like puff up his chest before jumping to like do a fucking frog or two for Game Boy Advance super jump, which I love. I wish there was a little more. I would love if they did another frog alien. I would not be upset if they, if they can have two dinosaurs, they can have two amphibians. Spitter's kind of, I think part of the reason I like Spitter might be because it reminds me of like a half catfish, pufferfish type thing, but also half frog. But that's not the point. Bullfrag is cool. I spent 3.5 minutes on this clip, because I filmed these in clips, so that I could grab all my frogs, and I didn't even grab all my frogs, because I have more frogs, even in this dorm room. But yeah, frogs are good, and I love them, and I love Bullfrag because of that. Atomics is a very cool alien. I think every series of Ben 10 should introduce an alien where you win the fight instantly if you get it, but it's hard to get it. You've got Waybig, Waybig's thing is he's very big. Alien X's thing is he can do fucking literally anything, but you have to get the two personalities to agree with each other. Atomic X's thing is that he is extremely strong. He is essentially a walking nuclear fission like reactor. He can create immensely powerful, like essentially miniature suns, like supernovas of energy, and he's very limited. He has every time Ben transforms into him, he has a set amount of energy he can use before he runs out and has to turn back into Ben, and then who knows when he'll get him again. And that, I think, is a very interesting spin, like limiter to put on a very strong alien. I'm on the thing because I think he had other powers. So yeah, the fact that he is a fission reactor means that he can heat up, he's like a robot man. He's very strong. He's very heavy. He can fly. He can survive in space. But there is one problem. Even though he's great and he reminds me of the Captain America ripoff from that one superhero anime everyone's crazy about, and he's just like a very fun, like, justice kind of guy. He's a robot. He's very clearly a robot and not a living being. I think it would be cool if they expanded on the lore of him a little bit. We don't know what his species is. We don't know what planet he's from. I could see him being like NRG adjacent, where he's like an extremely powerful gamma radiation being inside of a containment suit, which would explain why his powers have such a limited usage. But because we don't know anything, I gotta knock a few points off for having such an inorganic look. But still a great design. Gutrot is one of my favorite aliens that Omniverse introduces, and it makes me really sad that Ben only uses him like 3 times. I think that Evil Ben uses him a few times, which is nice, but So Gutrot is like a little purple dude in a sort of hazmat suit. He's kind of like Toad-like, which I enjoy, even if it's only a very vague resemblance. But his main thing is that the insides of his body are a chemical plant, essentially. He's got all sorts of gases of different chemicals inside him, and when Ben transforms into Gutrot, he gains an innate knowledge of chemistry, so he can combine any of the chemicals in his body to create new chemicals. He can make chlorine gas, he can make stuff that corrodes through metal, stuff that kills plants, stuff that knocks people out, stuff that like paralyzes people. A lot of very cool stuff. Like, he creates this like freezing spray that's kind of like liquid nitrogen almost. Laughing gas is something he does. Some of his stuff is super like combustible. I think that Gutrot deserved to be used more. It's a very cool design, uh, and I'd love to see Gutrot become like a mainstay in any future like continuations of the Prime Ben 10 continuity. So rounding out the started and never finished collection of classic movie monster aliens from OG Ben 10 is Whampire. Wham like a punch sound effect, which is cute. I always wondered why they did mummy before vampire. I guess they had a cooler idea for a mummy alien than for a vampire one. The Frankenstein one is just not an interesting design because it's just Frankenstein, not very aliens. And it's pretty similar for vampire. Like, what makes it an alien instead of just a real ass vampire? But I'm not mad because I really like vampire. Vlad something. What the fuck is the name of the evil one? Because there was a bad guy, but I can't remember his name, unfortunately. Vampire. Lord Trancel. Very cool name. And a very fun villain. I thought it was very cute to see, you know, another villain from the movie monster thing. You know, we had Ziskare, we had Dr. Victor, the unnamed mummy, and the unnamed werewolf. I mean, I guess it had Yenaldushi. I don't think it's what it would call itself, you know, but you know, it rounds everything out in a nice way. And I just like the design. He kind of reminds me of like a circus performer, a trapeze artist kind of fella, an acrobat, which is very. He could have just been called Acrobat. That's probably what lame blue Ben 23 would call him though, because that's not very clever. Anyway, Vampire is cool. He's immune to hypnosis from other vampires. He can do his own hypnosis to create like minions, make people do what he wants. He can spit out these weird little like mini green energy crystalline bat things called Chiropteras, which is a fantastic pun on Chiroptera. But anyway, that they latch onto people so that he can have multiple like mind controlled people at once. In addition to the very standard vampire stuff of flight, claws, he can drain people of energy, but he does it like in a very limited sense because I think Ben has a moral compass. And it's not blood drinking specifically. He sucks people's energy out through a bite. Derek J. Wyatt has said that he's also capable of turning into like smoke and mist like Dracula does. But he never does that in the show. But it's nice to know. But yeah, Vampire is very fun. He dies in the sun, which is a huge limiting factor. But fun design. I think worthy of being the last alien that Omniverse introduced. I wish Lord Trancel had appeared more times, but that's not important. Omniverse, I really love the alien designs. I had problems with two of them, but most of the other ones are great, and I wouldn't change anything about them. Besides maybe making them appear more. Omniverse, I was always conflicted because, in a way, it kind of seemed obvious that it was the end of Prime Ben 10, you know? The showrunners made a really big deal out of trying to get every alien to show up at least once, even though Chameleon, Fast Track, Jet Ray, and Spitter, they didn't really get around to. I'm not really upset about most of those. Spitter breaks my fucking heart. But Fast Track and Chameleon, you know what my thoughts are. I don't like them very much. But I mean, good. It's a good lineup overall. I do think that some past aliens got a little more screen time than they deserved, like the whole thing with Swampfire blooming, where he turns into an objectively uglier, worse-looking alien, and also takes away screen time that we could have gotten, like, not only more from past underutilized aliens, like, I would have loved to see Spitter, or even just more of aliens like Arctiguana, Buzzshock, Lodestone, who did appear, but a very limited number of times. But we could have been seeing more of the actual new aliens, instead of giving additional lore to aliens who showed up dozens of times in their original show. I would rather we see gut rot more than 3 times, and we actually learn the species of Astrodactyl and more about its jetpack, you know? Because Omniverse, I think, is a good show, even if it runs a little long and the plot gets pretty convoluted, especially with the Time War and the multiple, like, timelines with, like, Mad Ben and Ben Zorro. Like, they're cute, but they took up a lot of the show, which I'm not a super big fan of. You know, Omniverse was a little bit overambitious, I think, because there are aliens that we really didn't need to see again, that we do see again, and there are aliens that the show introduces that we barely get to know. Scourge also, I don't like the little goo guy, the slime beote. He shouldn't have been in the show. But I still have a lot of love in my heart for Omniverse. It got me back into Ben 10 after I had stopped watching it, partially due to bullying, partially because Alien Force aesthetically just really did not interest me. So having a show that looked, you know, like Omniverse did is why I still like Ben 10 today. Of course, there's stuff I would change about it. I would make Spitter the main character and only alien Ben can use. But it's still a good show. And it has good designs overall, even if Kick and Hawk and Astrodactyl are both lame. So yeah, now that I'm mostly done, I'm gonna do the Ultimate Forms video, which will be the ones from Ultimate Alien, plus the albedo Ultimate Forms of Ultimate Gray Matter, Ultimates Arctiguana, Ultimates, third one, Gravitac. So I'll talk about those, and maybe, I guess, do a video on the reboot where I talk about the redesigns and the new aliens. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I realized that Gax and Slapback and Shockrock and Bashtooth deserve to be talked about as much as the other ones do. And I guess the new one, the weird X-shaped building block alien from the Ben 10,000 movie that the reboot did. I guess I gotta fucking talk about that, huh? As you can tell just from my tone, I don't like the reboot very much. But I'll do that after the Ultimate Forms. And if I do a non-canon alien video, I'll probably do that before the reboot too. Just to get all my prime Ben 10 out of the way, get one video on the reboot, and then I guess I'll be done talking about Ben 10. It feels a little preemptive to do a video on the reboot, considering it's still going. So I might wait until it's over to do a video on that. But who knows? I don't really plan these out super big. You know, I did a Schneider cut video, which isn't even remotely Ben 10 related, just because I figured if I didn't get my thoughts out now, it would never be relevant again, and I need to get that out. It's Wednesday when I'm doing this. I want to get it out Friday, just so it won't have been more than a week or two since it came out, and I can stay relevant and maybe actually get some views on a video. Would be nice. But anybody who watches these, I appreciate you. I appreciate if you are still listening at this point. And I'm not really sure where to go next, so I don't want to beg for comments with a channel that has like 15 subscribers. But if you've got ideas, let me know. I'm trying to decide between talking about Zelda, Pokemon, and D&D. So you could tell me which of those you would prefer, or if you have anything you want to see me talk about that I haven't mentioned. But anyways, that is the end of mainline standalone Ben 10 aliens. See you around, and thanks for watching.